So the party were a little anxious, and Fred and Wally were more than a little embarrassed as they walk into the Wink and Kiss just off the main square in Yartar. The reason for their embarrassment was that Connie the cleric and Rachel the rogue were with them, and what they saw, where they saw on a dozen of the tables around the room, there were women employed by the club standing on the tables, some of them in nothing but loincloths covering their hips and covering nothing else, gyrating in front of male customers who sat there agog at what they were seeing. The party quickly went to a corner and sat at a table together, and it wasn't long before a serving maid came up to them and said, "What do you have, loves? Are you here for some drink, or..." And then she said, leaning in a little closer, "Are you here for business?" Uh, Fred cleared his throat and said, we're here for business." And the serving maid nodded, satisfied to herself, and she says, "Right then, follow me." And she led them to a back room and opened a door. Hey everybody, my name is DM Gallipan, and this is Lore Friday for November 13th, 2020. And tonight we are talking about Dark Dealings in Yartar. Dark Dealings in Yartar is an adventure for 9th level characters out of the Princes of the Apocalypse campaign. This particular adventure is one of the side quests that can be done to sort of fill in either something that happens as the characters are traveling from one part of the campaign to another, or if you're doing the campaign based on strict experience gains and they get to a point and they need more experience before they go to the next section, you can have them do some of these side quests. So Dark Dealings in Yartar is one such quest. Let's go ahead and take a look at this particular adventure and see how it's constructed, how it plays out, and how you could perhaps alter it for your own home game. Okay, Yartar is renowned as a place to make deals. It's one of the hubs on the trade routes in the north, and the there's river traffic and road traffic and everything else. There's a thieves guild there called the Hand of Yartar, the largest and most fractious collections of scoundrels between Waterdeep and Luskan. And they find themselves in possession of a devastation orb. And just like all enterprising thieves guilds, they want to sell it to the highest bidder. So the Cult of the Eternal Flame had dispatched a group of cultists armed with Devastation Orb to strike at Tribor, but a patrol of the militia from Tribor met and defeated the cultists in the nearby hills. And they took the Devastation Orb in its stasis container back to Tribor, and then it disappeared. Well, the reason it disappeared is because of one Noreen Dest, a member of the Hand of Yartar operating in Tribor. She pilfered the vault and smuggled the orb in its protective case back to Yartar. Once they realized what it was they had, we operate in this town. We don't want to set the whole thing on fire and burn it down. So let's just sell the bloody thing. And they want to make a deal. However, unbeknownst to Noreen, another member of the another member of the Hand of Yartar has already made arrangements to sell this to a group calling themselves the Kraken Society, um, a secret network with spies throughout the North. And this other agent, Haleria Ravenfast, now needs to try to eliminate Noreen and her buyer or buyers so that she can safely sell the orb to her buyer. So, this is how the adventure all plays out. This is the downtown Yartar. Y6 is the tavern where everything takes place. Um, and then, there's obviously hooks that you can set this up. If the PCs are members of factions, you can use faction tie-ins to let them know about something going on. Anything from sending to meeting a contact in a town or a roadside tavern or something like that. Or even just rumors passing through different Thieves Guild outposts and whatnot. And when they get to Yartar, they find it's a small walled city, stands on the east bank of the Cerberan River, uh, and they can stay at one of two different inns. One inn that has good accommodations, one inn that has poor accommodations, and then they quickly find out through either contacts in a town or ask using 10 gold to grease palms for information. They find out that this deal is supposed to go down at a place called the Wink and Kiss, where there are dancers, girls that are dancers, as well as other girls that are servers. And yeah, they're a um, they are very much in league with the Hand of Yartar, and they know all about Noreen Dest and her um, the fact that she uses the place to conduct business. And so, if they are there to do business, they can be led to her. Uh, she wants to start the bidding at 1,500 gold. And now it's kind of weird because the way this is set up is there are not other people there to bid against the party, but uh, and there's like apparently no offer on the table. But she wants them to bid and negotiate price. Yeah, just the language is a little weird. Maybe just say they're asking 1,500 gold, and then see if they can get if they can get that out of the party. Um, so there's checks that you can use to do that. But little known to the party, they are actually all being watched by somebody out in the alley outside. This somebody is the Hilaria Ravenfast, and the way they have this particular thing set up, it seems a little bit messy and a little bit clunky. And I might try to find a different way of having this come off because it just seems sort of unnecessary how this has worked. So, what this Hilaria is supposed to do, supposed to sit there and wait until they conduct a deal, and then she's supposed to try to shoot Noreen through the window. Somehow making Noreen and her guards think it's the characters doing the shooting. Or potentially, probably better set. It would be better if they said trying to make it seem like it's an ally of the characters doing the shooting. So uh, so it might be something like where you might put some words in her mouth as she shoots through the window, like "You fools, get to the horses," or something like that, where it would sell the thing more that it was actually that the person doing the shooting was actually an ally of the party, when supposedly, in reality, the party's not going to know why this person got shot or who was shooting. But it just doesn't seem like there's enough uh, in the way they have this set up to convince you as a DM that this person is supposed to be acting like an ally of the party. So that just seems a little flimsy. You might want to tighten that up a little bit if you're running this campaign. And Hilaria has the treasure. Um, so she is carrying the payment, Kraken Society's payment for the orb. And then after Noreen has the encounter with Hilaria, she's supposed to just give up the information about where the orb is. Again, that seems a little, you know, um, like just having an issue with a rival member of the gang is gonna give her a come to Jesus moment. I mean, that just seems a little, you know, a little contrived. Once again, you might want to think of a better reason for her to give up the information. But then this is what's really weird about it. After they find the location, they're supposed to go to the graveyard, and they find this Kraken Society already trying to get in to the tomb and get the orb. Uh, so I don't know that I would play it that way. I might play it that the uh, I just might get rid of the whole thing uh, happening at the inn, and might have them go through the motions of the sale, and then maybe if they are unsuccessful, maybe there's other parties that are in there that are bidding, and the party would have a way of sort of spying on those bids, and then they could learn somehow through successful checks where the deal is supposed to go. And they go there and they wind up running into this do, 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 group at the tomb. Uh, so this Kraken Society group. Now there is a Sagahan or Sahagan named Gald, and the Sahagan is a humanoid amphibious creature that is large, so larger than stands taller than an ogre and has 4 arms. So this guy is kind of imposing. And then there are human priests and 2 human veterans in that party as well. And so then there's supposed to be a fight, and then there's the orb itself, and kind of the aftermath of what happens in the orb, or what happens to the orb. Um, there's different people that might be allies of the group that they could, or the party that they could turn it over to. The party might, um, look for some way of setting it off where safely, or they might turn it over, whoever, whatever they might want to do. Or they might be really dumb and say, "Hey, what is it?" And they open it up and it blows up in their face. So, who knows? It's whatever. It's whatever your party winds up doing. Now, what are the things that I like about this little adventure? Well, I really kind of like the fact that it can be used. You can drop in any MacGuffin that you want to substitute for this devastation orb. So it makes it really easy if there's a rare item or an artifact or a map or a key or whatever it is that your party is trying to get, and you want to set up some sort of intrigue, some sort of subterfuge or negotiations or something different than just a straight out fight. Setting this thing up here can do that. Now, of course, there's always the potential for the fight if stuff goes wrong and you have the rival buyer or the rival seller, rival member of the Thieves Guild that shoots Noreen and then causes a fight with Noreen's bodyguards and the party and all this other kind of stuff and everything. And then there's the rival buyer group that could turn out to be you know, a uh, a fight, and you might have that be there. So it's likely that if you have a MacGuffin that the party is chasing, it's likely that they're not the only ones chasing it as well. So if you already have an established group that's been after the same thing they're after, then obviously you can easily swap out the Kraken Society for that other group. And they don't give you a map for this graveyard, so you can just use any kind of map for Mausoleum or just use a battle map and put a couple of blocks in there and say, okay, this is building, you can't go into it because there's no doors on it, and this area is cover and this area is rough terrain, whatever. So set it up that way. But yeah, I think it's a neat little adventure and nice little self-contained thing. You could probably play through the whole thing in a single session of a game, maybe less, depending on what your players like to do. I have players that tend to like to talk to everyone, and so it takes time for them to get through anything because they all have to talk, and that's fine. It's a as long as the game is fun for you as the DM and fun for the players, there's no problem there. All right, that is going to do it for Dark Dealings in Yartar. In the comments below, I'd be really interested if you have run this particular adventure. Did you run it exactly straight as it was? Did you wind up changing anything? Did you wind up having some of the same misgivings that I did about some of the pieces and whether or not that would feel convincing to the plot or whether it felt a little bit contrived? Uh, if you were a player, what did you think by playing through this? And then ultimately, if your player succeeded as a DM, what did they wind up doing with that devastation orb? I'm just kind of curious about that. You can put all that stuff down in the comments below. All right, I have been DM Galabond. This has been Lore Friday. If you like what we're doing here on the channel, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, and click that post notification bell so that you too can be notified every time new content drops on the channel. Thank you very much for stopping by and watching, and I very much hope that we will see you back here next week. Good night, everybody.